Till versus Brunson, guys. Here's what happened. I got to come to you from a different position because my appreciation for Darren Till did not diminish one bit. It did not diminish a single bit. Darren Till did some things very good in that fight. Look, if you get overwhelmed, since they've set that octagon up in 1993, there is nothing that is true today that was true then, except if you get a guy down and you keep him there, if you can take a guy down and bludgeon him from there, that is one thing that has transcended times. It is the one constant and commonality that is still real in the sport. If you can get on top and pound, you got to know what you're doing. You got to be wildly skilled to stop the armburst, to find the positions, to posture up the way that Brunson did, to move and advance the way Brunson did, beat the knee, drop the elbow, crucifix position at one point. But the position is still the same. You throw a guy down and beat him up, you're going to do very well. And I bring it to you because Till got up at one point. Till went down easier than I thought Till would go down. Till's defense is generally, it's harder. He has more of a resistance. Once he gets down, you're going to keep him there a little bit. That's a common for the few guys that can get on top of him to advance and do position. Okay, great for Brunson. I'm speaking from a different point, which is I didn't think Till looked bad. And I realized he didn't win a minute of that fight. But he hung in there. He dealt with adversities. He was exhausted. He's got a guy on top of him pounding. His eye hurts. His nose hurts. His ribs are busted. He was still pushing. I thought Till looked great. I enjoyed Darren Till. I really did. And my interest in Till has not diminished one bit. How much I would want to see Till's next fight has not diminished one bit. Does that surprise you? Or are you guys there with me? Because once you compliment Till, and once you see the things that he worked through, that's when you can really give Derek his due, because Derek was awesome. And I got to tell you, there was a little bit more to this for me, because nobody's ever helped Derek Brunson. Nobody. I've never done him a favor, and I've had the chance. I could come over and build him up in a different way to you guys. I've never done it. I haven't seen any media that's unlike me. I haven't seen anybody do Derek Brunson a favor. The fights that he gets are wildly difficult. His placement on the card is now beautiful and has been for a period of time, but it wasn't always. By example, when Brunson fought Anderson Silva, Brunson beat Anderson. He lost a decision. He won the fight. That wasn't a main event. That wasn't even a co-main event. But when I look back and go, wait a minute, you got to fight Anderson Silva and you don't even get co-main event status? No one has helped Derek. He has done this all on his own. And he's now won 5 fights in a row, which is some kind of a record. I don't know where it would put you in the top 10. Is that a top 10 for current? Is that a top 10 for all time? Is it a top 10 within the middleweight division? I don't know, but you win 5 fights in a row, particularly right now, you qualify for some kind of a record. I know that much. And if you go back, talk about he's won 5 in a row, we'll go look at the one that threw him off. It was to the champion of the world. He was fighting the baddest dude in the world, but we didn't know it at the time. So he had to fight Anderson Silva. He doesn't get a main event. He's got to fight Izzy Adesanya. He didn't get a main event. No one has done anything for Brunson. But he keeps believing in himself, and he keeps on getting better. And he says stuff before fights. Everybody does. But you never know what a guy really feels, what a guy's trying to convince himself of, what the guy's saying because he thinks it's the right answer. Brunson means it. Brunson truly, his confidence is growing. He is truly getting better. This is a main event guy. I do think for main event guys, they generally get a little bit more due and a little bit more credit than Brunson has got, and nobody's giving it to him. He's now taken it. He took it right from everyone, but no one gave him anything, which is very honorable. And now we find out that Brunson has changed his situation, went out to Florida. That's tough. Doesn't matter how good you are, you're the new guy in a room, it's tough. No matter how skilled you are, but you've got to go out and learn a new coach's philosophy and system. There's generally a learning curve, and a learning curve is a very nice way of saying you're not going to do very well for a couple of matches. Win or lose, but your performance, it's going to be tough. Coaches are grabbing you, they're changing you, you're buying into it, you're trying to learn new stuff. What actually ends up happening is you forget your best stuff. Brunson worked through all of it. He's looking polished. These championship rounds, I realize he didn't see them, but we have in other fights. They're not a problem for him. His body, man, he looks fantastic. He looks in shape and he's got a positive attitude. One of the biggest things when the viewer sees a guy who is out of his prime or begins to discuss what somebody's prime was or when their prime left, it always gets attributed, always, without fail, to a physical aspect. But the athletes themselves know that isn't true. It's from a mental side. I've used up my excitement. I used up my motivation. I used up my hard work. I'm not doing the same things in the gym. And not because physically I'm too old or I'm too tired or I can't. I'm just not. I lost that motivation. I lost that drive. I don't have hope anymore. Something brought you down and changed the physical side, but we know that it's up here. Brunson is positive. Brunson's happy. Brunson's got a smile on his face 90% of the time, whether he's doing interviews, whether he's doing weigh-ins, or whether he's getting ready for Bruce Buffer to get the hell out of the way. Brunson deserves a ton of credit. Nobody's done a damn thing for him. He did this all on his own, and not for nothing, but he deserves for the story to be told that way.